Welcome into another edition of SE Checks In presented by First Texoma National Bank. We've got former Southeastern Savage with us, Tyrone Stafford. Tyrone, how are you?
I'm doing well. I can't complain too much. Just trying to stay warm, and if I get out, trying to stay out of the ditch.
Yes, I feel you. I'm in the office today. We're closed, obviously, but I live 2 blocks away, so it really wasn't that bad of a drive. I was willing to walk up here, but yeah, staying warm. Have you lost power? Are you good?
No, fortunately, I live in some duplexes out here, and they are solar powered. Got panels on the top.
Oh yeah.
I've had heat, have had electricity. I've had internet service, so I've been doing pretty good with that. So
That's big.
yeah, I've been keeping my windows open to see what idiot's going to fly around the corner and maybe run into the cars under the drive. But other than that, like, dude, slow down. You're going to run into somebody's vehicle.
Oh, I know. It's out here. You know where our offices are. You got First Street and University, and you see people flying through. So we'll kind of go ahead and start there. Tyrone played basketball. He was a Savage and played 1992 to 1996, was a part of the 1996 national tournament team that a lot of people still talk about. Also an assistant basketball coach here for a couple of years, and was a part of the Sweet 16 team in 2007. So he's an alum, and he stays in contact with us. And so we'll just kind of start there. Growing up, what was it like growing up for you?
You know what? It was fun. I'm gonna be honest. I had on my dad's side at the time, 93. My grandmother passed away, but on my dad's side, there was 88 grandkids, and then on my mom's side, there's 17. Wow. And so I had this big old huge extended family, But my mom's side, all my cousins there are like my brothers and sisters. It's not, this cousin here, this cousin there, and it's that way on my dad. But I wasn't around them as much. So I had this big old huge family. And so growing up, we competed in everything that we did as far as sports, whether it was baseball. Mm-hmm. We would go to my great uncle's pasture. He had about 40 acres, and we'd go down there and we'd play baseball in his pasture. We'd go fishing at one of my other great uncles and aunt's house, and we'd slip across to the ponds and go fishing there because they were close.
Yeah.
And then at my place, we had the basketball goal. So my cousin would come up and we'd play basketball on the place. So we had all of that going on, always competitive. My mom, my aunts, they played softball into their 30s, mm-hmm. Early 40s. Hell, I remember when I was in a senior in high school, my mom and aunts, and they were still playing in basketball tournaments.
Right.
It was 6-on-6, but they were still playing in basketball tournaments. So it was neat. So I had that competitive drive growing up. Now, as far as basketball, I was not very good. I just wasn't. Third grade, I had a coach come in, and he coached me all the way through my junior year in high school. I just wasn't very good. I would go to my sister's, to my dad's house during the summers, and my sisters would be there, and they would just beat the holy crap out of me. So I never set any basketball goals other than to beat my sisters. Mm-hmm. So I think it was the summer between my 7th grade year and 8th grade year, or maybe it was 6th grade year and 7th grade year, I went down and got beat up real bad. Well, the next summer I was like, well, that's not going to happen again. So I went and became a better basketball player, and I went down and beat those girls, and they stopped playing me then. So that's the only goal I ever set as a basketball player. And that's the God's honest truth. I never set out to play in college or anything. I just, would just beat my sisters. But I knew if I could beat them, I was going to be a pretty good old player.
Well, that competition, definitely when it comes to family. I've got 2 younger sisters, and so watching those two go back and forth at each other, and they're 8 years apart, but still it's entertaining to watch them and that competitive drive that you have. And I was always the older one, so I never really saw it with them. But then I see that those two have the same competitive drive, and they can only be in a room for so long together sometimes, and you know how that goes. So, you grow up, choose Southeastern. Why Southeastern?
Well, I really don't know. I had cousins that had come to school here and graduated here. At that time, Coach Rob was in his second year when he started recruiting me. Garrett Mantle was an assistant coach. And, I don't know, it's just something about it. I didn't trust me. I had offers to play at every directional school in Louisiana, in Oklahoma. I had an offer to walk on at Oklahoma State. Eddie Sutton gave me that opportunity to walk on. I never got a letter from Billy Tubbs at OU, but I knew I wasn't that type of athlete. Eddie was really good about developing players at the time.
Yep.
But I was, Southeastern were one of the first schools to get contact at, my junior year. And then, they never did anything out of the way. Them and East Central was what came down to it. It was just funny. Wayne Cobb would come into the gym to recruit, and he would sit, in Eagletown's gym, they had a stage at the time, and he would sit right on the stage and watch me play. But Coach Mantle would go into the stands and find my mom or teacher or someone and just pick their brains. And he would slip in, he never would walk in at, right at the beginning, but he would slip in.
Yeah.
But I knew Wayne was always in the gym. And so, between the two and Drexel were the three choices that I had.
Yeah.
And at the time, my little brother was going to be a freshman. And I was like, well, let me stay around here. It gives mom a chance to come and watch me play and the whole 9 yards. And so that's how it wound up. It was just a about a 120-mile drive over from mom's front door to the gym. So that's what it came down to.
Well, we're glad that you chose the right decision and not that school up in Ada, that I won't go too far into that. So So playing at Southeastern, what memories you have playing at Southeastern? You played for a legend with Coach Rob. Do you still stay in contact with Coach Rob?
Yeah, I see him quite often, maybe 2 or 3 times a basketball season. Run into him in the town. I see family. I see Miss Beth. I see Taylor every day. She works down with us. So there's contact. There's always contact. So, but it's neat seeing him winding down his path. Being over at Colbert, coaching the boys over there. He's over there half a day, and neat seeing it. I don't know when he's going to hang it up for good, but I'm glad he's still in the game because he's a really good coach. He's great X's and O's, and he's really good at player development. At Colbert, they don't have the horses that they used to have, but, with what he has, he does a really solid job with it. So, yeah.
Well, we see him often as well. So we love when he comes around and, when I was here, his son was here. So, there was that connection there. So playing at Southeastern, obviously going to the NAIA national tournament, you guys obviously had some success. What are some things you remember about your teammates and things like that through your years here?
Well, that first year, we won 9 games, and I didn't lose 9 games it took us 3 years. I lost 7 games my senior year in high school, and the 2 previous years I lost 4. In the year before that, I think we lost 7 or 8. So, I never lost that many games that actually it was more than 9. I think we lost 19.
Yeah.
I think we were 10 and 19 or something like that. And it was just crazy. And I wasn't used to that. Probably should have redshirted that year. But what I remember about that team is after Christmas, we were really solid because Coach Rob just ran off a lot of headaches, at that time. But man, we got down to 9 kids, and we were just a machine. We lost to Oklahoma Baptist in the District 9 finals that year, and we knew we were going to be pretty good. The next year, we had a really good freshman class come in, and I think we won 20 games that next year. Maybe we're 17 to 20 games. And we saw it. My junior year, we struggled a little bit, but down the stretch, we were really good. And then my senior year, we were solid. We were solid. I don't think Coach Rob substituted much. We knew if we knew our roles, and we knew if we needed to get in a game, we just pat our head, and the person, you knew who you were going in for. You didn't have to check in through him to get into the game. So,
right.
So that was so much fun, going through all of that. And then, making it to the NAIA tournament, we lost to the eventual national champion, but we had those guys down. It was wild too. Hawaii Pacific had those big kids, and getting there, and it was new for us, but we probably should have beat that team, but just not having that experience going through it before, I think that kind of hurt us. And then the next year you saw that bunch that got to the Sweet 16, and they probably should have won theirs in the Sweet 16. The next year they lost to Life Georgia, but man, we were solid. We really good defensively. And like I said, everybody knew their roles. We played hard, but we spent a lot of time at that game. We spent a lot of time at it.
So obviously had a career here playing, got to play a lot of games.
Right.
What was it like after you got done? What was it like transitioning from that college athlete to a student per se, and looking towards what's next for Tyrone?
Yeah, I could have graduated in '96, but I stayed around an extra year because there was a few things I wanted to do as far as class-wise. I was on the track to teach and kind of ran away from it.
Yeah.
So I, took a few communication classes, went ahead and got a communication degree instead of the education degree. So I was hanging around, with those guys, playing around the whole 9 yards, getting to watch them play and go through that. Then I graduated in that spring of '97. But the transition was crazy. I still played with those guys, worked out with them almost every day. But after I graduated and went to work, I didn't touch a basketball probably 6 or 8 months. I didn't touch one. And then in that spring, it was during the winter, joined the league because I'd moved up to Fayetteville, Arkansas, and joined the old man's league with my cousin and a few friends. And we developed a team. They were a pretty good team. Didn't lose very many games. But it took me a while to get to that point to play. So it was it was a good thing. And then from there, it was all fun and games and everything. And then, kind of stayed away from it. Got into individual coaching a little bit, coaching little kids teams. And then my cousin goes, "Hey, you need to get back in school. Go get your master's, and I'll take care. I'll take care of the graduate work and fees and everything." Well, he didn't have to do that. I wound up getting a graduate assistant position here at Southeastern with Dean Barish or Vice President Robinson. She's now retired, but anyway, I got a job under her in student affairs, and I coached cheerleaders. And they were called a spirit squad then, but I coached those guys. I had about 20 kids, big old squad, a lot of fun. And then after I got my master's, I went down to Arlington and went to work. I substitute taught the first semester, and then went into the classroom full time after that. So it was a whole lot of fun. Did that about 4 years, got out of it. I don't know if it was the size of the schools or the kids, but I got out of it. And I went to work for a private company for about 2 years, or a year and a half. And then Coach Rob calls and said, "Hey, got a graduate or got an assistant coach position, and I would like for you to come to work for me." And so in 2006, I loaded up my stuff and moved back to Durant.
Yep.
Yeah.
What was it like coming back as a person that played for Coach Rob, and then coming back, some years later, what was that like?
I used to tell him that I thought he went soft because the kids just, they didn't have all of the, restrictions that we had as basketball players, and they smiled and laughed a lot. We didn't. We were always serious. And so they smiled and laughed a lot. And I'm just like, I can't believe you're letting them get away with all this joking around in practice. And he goes, "Well, you'll see what I'm talking about as we start playing. And I just kept saying, yeah, whatever, there's no way. And then you start seeing Babers and Stampley and those guys play ball, and you're just like, holy crap, they are really solid. They have fun. That's one thing they do. And they were fun. I mean, they could score. It didn't matter. They were like the Warriors at the time. They could just score. And when they wanted to guard, they could just flat out just shut people down. And they were good. We had 14 kids. All of our post guys were left-handed, and so that made it tough on people because they weren't used to it. And it was something else, man. I sit there and I tell those guys that I played with, and they get mad at me when I tell them, I'm like, man, they might outscore us. So we were better defenders, but they could flat out score. I said, we could score, but man, these guys, that's a different animal right there. And they just, Eric Woolley, he balls up his fist every time I say it. He wants to punch me in the throat because, he's like, man, you're lying, stop lying. I'm just like, no, dude, they could play. And I remember, that first year I was here, we were at Abilene Christian. Coach Rob and I, we never substituted. We just sit over and we had a conversation on the bench. We watched that offense just work. And it was just like, they were just, mopping the floor with Abilene. And it was just like, this pass here. And if he gets that skip pass, it's going to be wide open. So we just talked about how the offense was flowing. We didn't make any, major adjustments. It was just like, all right, you see how that ball's going right there? Well, look at that. And it was something else. It was neat. It was so neat to see.
Well, when you name those names, especially a guy like Eric Babers, who's definitely an elite basketball player for the Savages, I'm sure he definitely had his share of some of those wins for sure.
Oh man, those guys were good. I mean, we went 27-5, and to get to the Elite Eight, we had to beat Central Missouri on their home court. I think they beat us by 5 or 6 points. Yeah. We didn't have the best game, but when you have about 50 or 60 people in the stands cheering you on, and they got about 8,700, what can you do? You get a little home court advantage. But I guarantee you, if we played up 20 miles down the road or, anywhere else besides that place, we probably win that game.
Oh yeah. It's a different ball game. So you transition out of coaching. What is it that you're doing right now?
Well, I've been working in behavioral health, for the last since 2014. Mm-hmm. I've been managing business management and human resources, and so I hire providers to be a part of the team to deliver behavioral health services where there's counseling. I've hired a couple of psychologists, actually one psychologist. Have hired some nurse practitioners, because what we do, we are integrated healthcare practice. We have 7 locations that's spread out through Southeast Oklahoma, one in North Texas. Mm-hmm. And we do a lot of counseling services, psychological medication management, psychological testing. We do parenting assessments and, drug screening. I mean, for behavioral health, we do a lot of things. And that's the model that a lot of practices are going to today. They're going to a model that encompasses the whole person. We did have occupational therapists. Not looking to hire one of those anytime soon, but we want to get back into that field there. But what we try to do is be like a one-stop, complete person. Stop for someone. All during the week. So it is neat. Seeing that grow from, just the counseling and psychological testing piece to the integrated piece where you're monitoring, the management, how these people take their medications, or if they're taking long-acting injectables, making sure they get those shots in, and to see us grow from, that first week we had 70 clients. And now we're close to 1,400 clients that come in a month for services. It's been pretty neat just on the medication side.
Right.
And so it's been neat to grow. But man, it can be taxing at time because you're always, looking at numbers and you're always trying to, grow what you're doing. So we're always in, meeting or some kind of training or talking with pharmaceutical companies, to push the long-acting injectables. And it's been fun, but it gets challenging sometimes too. So we have to take a step back and go, wow. Right now, with the storm going on, we have all of our providers set up to do Zoom. So they've been doing their Zoom conferencing or telephone calls, which we're allowed to do. And also with our medication, we've been, we hadn't been able to travel to one of our clinics to do medication management for the last 2 days,
right?
Or today and yesterday. So we've done everything via Zoom and got our clients' medication taken care of. Now, getting prescriptions called in and them getting out to get it, that's going to be tough for them. But they have got to meet with the nurse practitioner on their medication piece and making sure they're okay. So that's been a lot of fun monitoring all of that. But yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah,
it has been fun.
Seems like there's always something you got to deal with.
There is. I'm always into our electronic health records. I'm always into that, checking, making sure that notes are done. Mm-hmm. Making sure appointments are met, the whole 9 yards. And, right now kind of throw it off with the storms, but, it is what it is. At least we've gotten to keep a lot of appointments because we're allowed to do the telemedicine and telehealth. And right. So that's been pretty neat. That's been pretty neat.
So I ask a lot of people this, and I love the answers, and it's kind of a combined answer. Being a former student athlete at Southeastern, how did that set you up for what you're doing today? How did that help you? How did that, being an athlete at Southeastern?
Well, anytime I think you're an athlete anywhere, especially if you play outside of high school, that you learn something different. You got to learn how to get outside your box. When I was in high school, I could, from my freshman year, I think I could get my, buckets any way I wanted to, but I wasn't needed that way as a freshman in high school. My sophomore and junior years, I think I played, third or second on the team. And then my senior year, you have to go out there and be a leader and all of that stuff. And then you get to college and it's just like, okay, where do I fit in here? Mm-hmm. I left high school. I was the tallest kid on my team. I get to college, I'm the shortest guy on the team, and I'm 6'2".
Yeah.
My point guard's taller than I am. And then, and so I have to learn how to get, adjust to my role. I started a lot of the time I was here. My senior year, I asked to come off the bench, be a team player, come off the bench. Still down the stretch, I was in games because, I prepared myself to be in those games. And so, you have to learn how to, know where you fit and make sure you do your role, best that you can. And that's what I think that, being a college athlete and an athlete at Southeastern allow me to do. Right now we have 60 providers and staff that we deal with on a daily basis. And I have to make sure that they have all their needs met. They're able to provide service without any kind of interruptions. That their technology's working, the whole 9 yards. Making sure their licensures are up, and that's all part of a team that we have, our management team. So right. we all have things that we have to do, and that's what basketball did for me there at Southeastern too. It told me how to be a part of the team and play your role.
So obviously, and you come up here often, we see you up here and all that, but, we had a pretty big transformation over the last year in regards to some of our facilities. And I know you've seen online. What do you think about the new weight room and all that kind of stuff?
Man, that thing is a game changer. Mm-hmm. It really is. It's not under those bleachers over there at the football stadium. But that's a game changer. I mean, it really is. Getting to that point, it was just wow. I don't know how we've had the successes that we've had, especially in the arms races with that everybody else is going through, as far as facilities, but man, that really was a game changer. It would have been nice for us to have that, and then to have a guy that's dedicated to, making sure you get stronger and faster. That's pretty neat. And, Coach Fears is a little bitty dude, but he looks like he's real intense and knows what he's doing, because you see it with the bodies of the kids. It's just like, wow, everybody's so together. They're put together, and it's neat. It's neat to see.
It's awesome too, because I worked out under those bleachers, and it's great walking in there just to see what it's like and the energy level and all that. It's
wow, yeah,
awesome.
Yeah, and that's him, because he looks like he is a firecracker.
Oh yeah, he definitely gets after it. So you mentioned you when you got done playing, you joined some links. Do you play basketball anymore?
No. Well, and it's wild too, because I work with a few little kids in the area, and I won't call them little kids because they're sophomores and juniors in high school, and I have a hard time just getting out there showing them what I think they should do, or talking to them about things, and I'll show them a drill or something that'll work, and I'm just like, man, this hurts. And I keep telling when I get in better shape, I'm going to get out here and I'll play you a little one-on-one. But I'm afraid that they're going to school me, one, and two, I don't want to tear anything up. So I'm real cautious about it. No, but I don't play as much now. I like I said, there was a time I played all the time, but I don't play as much. When I came back in 2006, Coach Grover and Coach Willingham, at the middle school here in Durant. We used to play, Sammy Joe, we used to play quite a bit, 3-on-3 or, old person league. And that was pretty neat. But no, I have to be real selective of when I get out there on the court, because I just can't see myself tearing anything up. I'd hate that. Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that'd be tough. So,
yeah, it's bad enough moving as it is as a 40-something-year-old.
So I ask this too, kind of as we close. I ask everybody this: what is Southeastern Oklahoma State University? When I say that, what does that mean to you?
Southeastern is it's home. Southeastern means family, because I still keep up with a lot of people I played with, a lot of former athletes. Men's teams, women's team, tennis, baseball. Mm-hmm. I still wonder where a lot of them are. I look on social media to see if I can find a lot of them, but man, it really was family. I grew up here. I didn't get into a lot of stuff, but I grew up here. It took me out of comfort zone, because I became pretty active while I was on campus. I was a super savage leader back in the day, which is those true blue ambassadors or whatever you want to call those that they have now on campus. But I did that. But it really did. It helped me get outside of a box, and that's one thing I'll take with being here more than anything. It's just, I grew up here, and I love it. I wouldn't trade it. If I had to do it again, I would come back and do it again.
Oh yeah. A lot of people say that they gravitate back towards their experiences they had here. Right. And it's always nice to hear them say this. It's the same thing, but they say it in different ways. They wouldn't do it any differently. And I feel the exact same way. I love this place. I love Durant. I love where we're going. I love this town. It's an awesome place to be. And it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear people say that were here before me and after me. They're like, they're the best time of my life, and it was great. So, well, I appreciate you taking time to sit down and do this with us and talk about, your time at Southeastern. What else is there you want to say, you want to get out that I did not get to?
I think you covered it all. All I know is, I follow a lot of sports, and I don't have any teams. You know, I have one team, and that's Southeastern. That's the only one I say we to.
Yes.
The rest of them, I like. Okay, I support them. Yeah, I like them. I like that. I like what's going on there. But there's only one we for me, and that's Southeastern. So
well, we certainly appreciate it, and like I said, when everything kind of clears up, we can't wait for you to get back in the stands, watch basketball, get everything back to normal. Which
I'm ready for it. I'm definitely ready for it.
You know,
so
I'm ready to have a grand opening, you know, for our new facilities, because we really haven't had it yet, you know. And so,
right.
But no, this is great. This has been awesome. But I appreciate you taking time today, sitting down with us. We're going to get this out, and so well, Southeastern fans, Tyrone Stafford, former Savage National Tournament Southeastern graduate. Thank you so much.
All right, guys, y'all have a good one.